I'm Chris Smith. You're watching Sporting Icons. You don't need to be anywhere else.
Hello there, this is Rico Boxing here with the legendary, the infamous, Mr. Dmitry Salita of Salita Promotions. Dmitry, how are you today, sir? Looking incredible. Okay, not just saying that. All right, you must be on a new diet, that keto diet you've been telling me about. How are you, mate?
Legendary and infamous, man. Those are big words. But I'm still kind of young, man. But you make me blush. Thank you.
Well, you gave me one of the greatest compliments I've ever had from a promoter, so you deservedly, definitely deserve all of the props, all of the respect.
As we say, l'chaim. That's how we say in Brooklyn.
L'chaim, my brother. I'm going to come to the next Jewish gathering with you, definitely +1.
My God.
Obviously, congratulations on a very successful show in Detroit. You know the success of it. You know the star that you have on your hands with a GWAT, greatest woman of all time, Miss Clarissa Shields, coming through with a very impressive win. She far outshadowed her opponent, which is just her, to be honest with you, her skills far outweigh most at that at I would say four weight divisions that she could potentially be fighting in. Just go through the card. Tell us, how the night was. Just seeing Clarissa being back home. How was it for you?
It was amazing for several different reasons. First of all, for Clarissa to come over the biggest win of her career versus Savannah Marshall, away from home in the UK, to return back and to open up Little Caesars Arena, which is the premier venue in Detroit for sports events, concerts. The Pistons, which is an NBA team, play there. The Red Wings, which is the hockey team, the NHL team, play there. The UFC did some events there. WWE did some events there. Concerts take place there all the time. It's a brand new, beautiful venue. And Detroit is a city that produced some of the greatest fighters in the sport of boxing. And for Clarissa to open up the city and that building for boxing is really tremendous. And, we've been working for about 8 years in rebuilding boxing in Detroit. So have our Detroit Bro series. So for all that to come together in such a way, it was really spectacular. And the show had a lot of local talent from Detroit and from Michigan, some from Flint in competitive fights. If you look at the undercard, many of the fighters put their undefeated records on the line versus other undefeated fighters. So as an example, Joshua Pagan, who's 6-0, for a fighter that was 9-0. Deval Smith, who was 5-0, known as Next Time You Heard from the Kronk Gym, for the kid that was 4-0. Marlon Harrington, who was 8-1, for Gate Muhammad, who was 9-0. And these are really incredible fights that showcased some of the better talent in the state of Michigan. Joseph Hicks, U.S. Olympic team captain, only 6-0, for Antonio Todd, took a big step up in competition.
And Antonio Todd. Well. I've been keeping my eye on Joseph Hicks. I will. I do have an interview bubbling with him very, very, very soon. Seems like a great fighter. The one thing that kind of stood up to me about the whole thing was the fact that you had undefeated fighters fighting undefeated fighters. For a stable such as yourself, with not, I wouldn't say as big as the other promotions out there. It is really quite risky having these undefeated fighters, fight so early on in their careers, when I would say 80% of their peers might be fighting this journeyman or that journeyman with this record. But Dmitry, why is it that you put them in that show? And was it because of the event? Was great fights, obviously, by the way. As I said, very impressed with Joseph Hicks. We'll get on to the main event in a second. But is that something that you're planning to do from now on, or was this just a one-off?
Well, all of our guys, we matchmake them in a smart and competitive way. My first promoter in professional boxing was Top Rank and Bob Arum, who probably has the best matchmaking machine in the business of boxing. They're the best at building fighters, and I've learned from it, kind of, digested some of that style and some of that knowledge, and I'm implementing that into my business as well. So some of these fighters, have to get kind of tested, so to say, and have to prove on their resume that they got the skills to pay the bills, and the guys that they fought had good records, but they were not outstanding. And I really felt that my guys were more talented than their opponents. But you never know. You know, Boxrec had the fights 55-45, 60-40, which is an objective odds maker, so to say. So all those fights were competitive, and I'm, you know, I believe my eye more than any other system. So, you know, it's very good that these guys got up for the challenge and did what they did and won. The other thing is that for boxing to grow in Detroit, you need to have competitive fights. And there's been a lot of mismatched shows here, and guys that are 10-0 fighting a guy that's 4-12. You know, so when that happens, that discourages boxing fans from supporting the sport, because it's just like, you know, because there's villains and there's heroes. But in this particular situation, such a big event, and there's a lot of suits there, so to say, from Detroit community, from the sports community, that have not been exposed to boxing. They got to look at competitive, good fights to reignite that fire in them. Detroit is a big sports town. Also, it's our first show on the zone, and I wanted to show them that we can do a lot with the given opportunity, and that's what we did. And in addition to the fights, there was Four Tops, which is a legendary Motown band, sing the national anthem. There was Cash Doll, who's a
All right, I know Cash Doll. You're
famous...
going to explain to me about Cash Doll. There's a couple of tunes.
Yeah. Walked Clarissa out. So just made a really fun event that crossed over into the culture of life, and it was really a great event. So Deval Smith, who was a Kronk fighter, known as Next Time You Heard Us, he's 5-0 for the kid that was 4-0. He fought after the main event, fought after Clarissa. He was a TV swing bout. I was really hoping that he would make it onto television, but he won by first round knockout for the 4-0 kid. Announced that he's training me with a boxing gym for this fight. So a good fighter. And Deval Smith is someone to look out for. He's going to be a real sensation in the middleweight division. He's American, Midwest raised, got the Kronk colors, so the sky's the limit for him.
I mean, in a division such as middleweight at the minute, we've got a lot of uncertainty at the moment. You've got my guy, obviously, Denzel Bentley wanting to rematch Johnny Beck, and we don't really know what Golovkin is doing. I think he's giving up the belts, this and that. It's you know, you don't know what Charlo's doing at all. So 160 is a real division with so much potential for future talent. If we look at Ammo Williams, he could be facing your guy, Cash Felix. There's just so much. Obviously, I'm naming a few from here and over there. But with that being said, with the swing bout not being shown on television, a bit of a weird one, Dmitry, only because DAZN being the app, I thought that it wasn't sort of held to sort of time constraints being, you know, an app.
Well, yeah, but there's still show formats, traditional boxing show format. There was a TV swing bout because they wanted Clarissa to be on a certain amount of time at a certain time, meaning, you know, from 10:30 to, let's say, 11:15. So we just had to do what we had to do. But it doesn't really matter in the big scheme of things, because I think the Deval will have a chance to be seen. And fortunately, we have BoxRec, so people can log in and see what he did and how he did it, and follow him on his social media, and see some of the highlights from the fight.
I will definitely be getting you to plug all of your fighters and everything. You know how I like to do at the end of my interviews with the shout outs and stuff. So that's why I kind of want to quick fire these questions at you at the minute. Miss Clarissa Shields, vastly superior to her colleagues. Her boxing skills are just tremendous, I would say, in terms of male and female, or whichever gender you'd like to say. She is just exemplary. And from the performance that I saw there, I think I've seen that performance from her many times. Now, with Savannah Marshall looking to become undisputed at super middleweight right now, Dmitry, the last time we spoke, this was something that I kind of planted the seeds for. I didn't really need to do much gardening because that fight is just huge. Now, provided obvious, I mean, the winner or loser, I'm sure that they will be fighting Clarissa at super middleweight for the undisputed super middleweight titles. But who does Clarissa want to fight now? I mean, being so skillful in that sort of nook, and with the talent pool being so few and far between, what is Clarissa's next plan? Is it a Savannah Marshall back here in the UK, or actually, why does it need to be back in the UK? Seeing as Clarissa came here and done the business, wouldn't it be best to do that fight in Detroit? Your thoughts?
I think yes, I think doing it in Detroit. Clarissa did go to the UK for the first fight, and the rematch would make a lot of sense in Detroit as well. The gate did fantastically well, and I really believe that for Savannah Marshall fight would do even better. It's just a huge event and a huge fight in the United States. So yes, it would make a lot of sense for that fight to happen in the US. Obviously, you have TV partners and TV responsibilities that come into play, but on a very plain level, I feel that it makes a lot of sense for the fight to happen in the US. Clarissa.
Sorry, Dmitry, you carry on. Sorry about that.
Yeah. So for Clarissa, besides the big fight with the winner of Savannah Marshall, Franchon Cruz, for her, being who she is and what she represents, geography also matters. So I would love for Clarissa to fight in Africa, fight for Clarissa to fight in the Middle East. I feel like those places would be very meaningful, almost, or very significant. I don't want to say almost like Muhammad Ali, but yeah, but maybe in some ways, yes.
No, you can see
Muhammad Ali was a symbol at a very sensitive time in the United States and in the kind of the world of the social culture. And Clarissa is that in today's day and age, with women empowerment, with all the things that are going on, with what Clarissa has overcome to be who she is and where she's come from and what she's doing, for women and for men in Africa and in the Middle East. Someone like Clarissa would be tremendously, inspirational. So very excited about those possibilities, because I think like the Rumble in the Jungle, Clarissa going to one of these places will be timeless.
I mean, that would be absolutely incredible. Just on that, negotiations for that fight, would it not be better to start, whether it be the Cruz, whether it be Cruz or whether it be Savannah to come through that, have negotiations started for that fight?
For the Cruz, no. For the winner of that fight?
Yes. I mean, no negotiations, but like, has there kind of, do you know what I mean? Because it's, from what I've noticed, it's always better to kind of, as you say, plant the seeds, or kind of just start that talking. Unless obviously Clarissa has other plans. What's where
yeah, so I can't really, I choose not to negotiate on social media and in the press. So when time is right and there's news to be released, everybody would know. And you and I are in touch on Instagram, so maybe you'll know before everybody else.
I hope so too. Yeah. I was gonna say, I was like, we're practically bros now, so you gotta give me the exclusive. Okay, I'll leave it at that, but I will come back for you. Now a heavyweight update from your guys. Let's go first. Otto Wallin, have we got anything for him?
We're working on it.
Okay.
We're working on it. Yeah, next one is Jerrell Miller.
Jermaine Franklin. No. We'll go down there, and then we'll go to Miller, because I have a good couple of questions for your guy, Jerrell. All respectful.
Sure. Yeah. So
Jermaine Franklin.
So we have an option with Matchroom for Jermaine based on his fight with Anthony Joshua. I felt it could have made sense for him to fight in Detroit, because Matchroom is doing a show in Detroit next month with Alicia Baumgartner. So he'll be back in the ring in the next couple of months. But I believe that now the dust has settled and boxing fans can digest how well he's done against Dillian Whyte and against Anthony Joshua, I believe that his next fight is going to, get a lot of hype and a lot of attention. So Jermaine was with Clarissa's fight. He's very excited. Loved it. He will also be a great guy to showcase in that beautiful Little Caesars building, as he's from Saginaw, Michigan, which is, about an hour and change from Detroit. So, yeah, another example of how rich the boxing community is in the state of Michigan and the Midwest. And Michigan is neighboring with Ohio. And look how many great fighters there are in Ohio. Guys like Jared Anderson, who I think is one of the best heavyweight prospects, contenders in the division. He's very, very good. There's Albert Bell, who's a very good junior lightweight contender. There's many good fighters from Ohio, which is like an hour from Detroit. So this is a very talent dense hub for boxing, and
yeah,
I believe that it should grow and prosper.
No, definitely. I've got my
so. Yeah, on. So I know we're gonna talk about Jarrell, but we also did a show on June 9th, which was Hall of Fame weekend show on Showtime, and had 6 undefeated fighters fighting each other. In the main event, Ali Ismailov, who was world rated number 6 in IBF, defended his title against Charles Foster. Ali was 10-0, Charles was 22-0, both world rated, and Ali had some challenges.
Is that Muhammad Ali?
But showed why he's Ali Ismailov.
Ali Ismail. Sorry, I'm sorry. There's actually another Muhammad Ali on Matchroom, which is so funny. Please ignore me. No. Carry on, Dmitry.
Yeah, Ali Ismailov, he fought in the main event. It was his US TV debut.
Yeah.
And he did a great job in beating a world-rated 22-0 fighter. Then in the co-main event, we had Chad Van Sickle versus Juan Carrillo. Great fight. Both guys knocked down, also undefeated fighters. Knocked each other down, very competitive fight. Juan Carrillo, who I think is going to be a real force in the light heavyweight division, won the fight and won the WBO Intercontinental title. And in the opening bout, Clay Waterman, who's a light heavyweight prospect from Australia, young guy, great amateur career. Clay Waterman is someone to watch as well. Okay. So, and the fact that we just had, back-to-back shows, and organizationally to be able to function that way and be able to service 2 of these significant events is just a great sign of what we're able to do. And I'm very grateful for my team that they were able to pull it out and to do what they did, and shows that we're on par to rock and roll.
Some of the big boys, Dmitry, I have to say, I'm very, very impressed, Dmitry. I mean, you've only kind of, obviously, you've done these 2 shows back to back, but the Clarissa show, that was an akin, for me, to one of the big boys.
Yeah.
From just the main event, through the outset from Castro. It was all very well thought of, very well executed. Incredible performance by the champ, and I do have to say congratulations, and I hope that we'll be getting more, which leads me to my next question before we get on to the meat and potatoes of it. Do you have a promotional deal, a network deal with DAZN in how many shows that you are going to be working with them on or giving them?
I do not have at this point a multi-fight deal with DAZN.
Okay, cool. Now, Mr. Tyson Fury, somebody that I know, and the whole world knows, the lineal WBC heavyweight champion of the world, who doesn't seem to be fighting anybody. However, word through the grapevine, Dmitry, is that your guy, Big Jerrell Miller, Big Baby Miller, might have an opportunity at it. It seems to me, I was actually explaining this the other day to one of my friends as to why it's the smartest. It actually is the smartest and the best thing for Tyson to do. It's controversial, it will sell, and it will make you look good. So, Dmitry, please tell me you have something.
I don't know which grapevine are you hanging out at?
Right, okay. So, has there been any communication with my Uncle Frank and my Uncle Bob in regards to a fight with Tyson Fury? Please give me something.
I don't have anything to say about that matter at this moment in time. But if that fight does happen, it will be something that I think would be tremendous for all the reasons that you outlined. But I really, really don't have anything to say about it at this moment. But it will be very special.
Everything without saying anything. So blink twice with Uncle Bob. No, I'm joking. Do
you watch Seinfeld?
I do watch Seinfeld, yeah.
So in Seinfeld, there's a great episode where George gets an orange or a grapefruit in his eye, and he blinks by accident. So there's certain scenes where he says things and then he blinks, but it's an accident and he doesn't even realize that he's doing it.
No, that's no accident, Dmitry. Don't take that away from me.
So no blinking, man.
Dmitry, I always enjoy our interviews. I mean, we've only
but I do gotta say that sometimes people in your space and I always enjoy interviews with you. Get information, and when I get interviewed, I'm very surprised because sometimes only four people know, but then you realize that maybe it's 40 and not four.
The way that boxing works, Dmitry, from what I've seen,
there's one of the great boxing people in business told me there are no secrets in boxing.
He was a very smart man.
There is no secrets in boxing, which is good, actually.
I mean, from Jay Opataya to Dempsey McKean to Jerrell Miller, I would rather pick the latter of those three gentlemen there. First two don't make any sense at all. Funnily enough, Jerrell Miller does. Now, let's tell me about his shape. Is he in shape? Is he ready? The Tyson fight doesn't happen. Have you got somebody else? Great win from Lucas Brown. People can say what they want to say about whatever. However, that was a very good win, making people have their eyes back on Jarrell, which is something that I personally didn't think that was going to happen, but the man just cannot be defeated. So tell me, give me something. Have you got an opponent?
So Jarrell obviously has a great personality, and the fight with Anthony Joshua, coulda, shoulda, but didn't happen. And I feel that Jarrell had it happen. I feel that Jarrell had all the tools to do what he had to do and become heavyweight champion of the world. From Brooklyn, New York, like Mike Tyson and Riddick Bowe, which would make it so special. And so after his comeback, which happened last summer, he's fought 3 times in less than 12 months. This past weekend, he just had an exhibition for charity on the Floyd Mayweather card. That was just a charity type of thing. The Lucas Brown fight was an impressive one. He's actually been to camp with Tyson last year when Tyson was getting ready for Dillian White. So,
I don't think I had no idea that he was.
He knows. Yes, yeah. He was in camp for about 4 weeks. So Jarrell's been working his way back, and his weight is coming down, and he's very focused and very hungry to get his opportunity. And he believes that he is the best heavyweight in the world, and I believe that he has the skills and the ability to certainly be that. But as we say, the proof of the pudding is in the pudding, and hopefully one day, sooner or later, he'll have that opportunity.
Well, regardless of anything that's happened with Jarrell, one person who I do believe is you. So if you're telling me this, I believe you because you've not given me any other reasons to think otherwise. So Dmitry, I will be whenever we are speaking, I will be asking about Jarrell and I will be plugging him in. And
sure,
because you've given him a chance, I think that the rest of us should, because you haven't let us down. But honestly, I just want to thank you very, very much, Dmitry, for your time. To have, again, like I say, somebody on your just level of notoriety is amazing, and I can't thank you enough. Before we leave, give your normal shout outs. If there's anything that you'd like the boxing public to tune into, whether it be shows or anything like that, you have full 5 minutes just to express yourself.
5 minutes is a long time. So first of all, fans should follow Clarissa Shields on Instagram and on Twitter and on Facebook. And you can follow me as well, Dmitry_Salita at Salita Promotions, our business channel. And when you go on our Instagram page, you'll see all the fighters that we represent and follow their page as well. We're always working, always thinking about progressing the business, progressing the sport of boxing. And we started this interview with young fighters being in competitive fights. For boxing to be successful, there's several ingredients. First of all, people talk about exclusive. Exclusive is no good, man. People talk about exclusive. It ain't good. Exclusive is not good for the fighters. It's not good for the fans. It's only maybe good for one promoter who's ranking in the dough, and that's it, really. And really not giving the fighters the best opportunities usually. So boxing has to be inclusive. That has to happen. Second of all, fights have to be made between different promoters, whether they like each other or they don't like each other. It doesn't matter, because we're here to service the fans. And people have to show up to fights. The sport of boxing has to grow. One of the reasons why the UFC has been able to grow as it has is because it's centralized. There is a There isn't. It's not fragmented. Boxing is fragmented. However, I feel like to some extent there has to be a desire to come together so that the business and the sport can continue to grow and the big fights have to be made. And we've seen that with Gervonta Davis and Ryan Garcia. Big up to the promoters and to the networks behind it that made it happen. Crawford versus Spence, another incredible fight. Looks like Canelo is going to have a big fight as well. So it's great for the sport of boxing that these big fights happen. And you know, I pray to God and work very hard to be part of some of these big fights. So, you know, towards the end of the year. So thank you so much. Always good to be on. Always good to talk to the fans and talk to you. And we'll check in soon.
Thank you very much, Dmitry. Final one, Dmitry. Spence Crawford prediction. How does it happen? I have Bud taking it by devastating knockout. Give me your prediction.
Yes, I also believe that Crawford wins the fight. I don't know about knockout or decision, but respect to both guys for taking the fight. I think Crawford is a very special talent. Spence is very talented as well, but Crawford is special. And from what I've seen from him, he's able to adjust during a fight. He's able to change tempos, change speeds, slow down, speed up, change power. He's just multi-dimensional and very skilled and mean when he has to be. And so is Spence. Spence is also mean. And that's why I think it's going to be a great fight because they both believe in themselves and they really both want to win. So it's a great fight for boxing. And hopefully it does well at the box office and does well on pay-per-view. I'm definitely going to watch that fight and pay for it, either through a ticket or through a pay-per-view. It's very important that we all support it.
If you're going to be ringside, mate, give us a couple of grand and then I'll come through as a +1. But no, thank you so much again for your time, Dmitry, as always, my brother. And I hope you have an incredible day. And take care.
Thank you. Thanks, man.
All the
Okay.
best, brother.